And today, now we remember the 20th April, that during a business meeting, they decide to build, no? to organize the International Society of Sports Psychology. And for this purpose, Ferrero Bravella proposed to do this and to share, to accept the statute that have been presented before to this old member of the scientific committee. That 7 of these members become the first member of the board of directors, as the managing council was called at the time. And so ISSP was found very quickly, in very informal way. This is also the Antonelli style. In some way, it was one of the criticism about him is based on this, that he was a very tough man, very solitary person, and also very strange, if you want, for an Italian person. But in any case, when he wanted to do something, he do this. Also, he was very diplomatic and so on. But as Sidonio remembered before, was a tough period. There was the Cold War in that time. And so this difficulty between East and West was since the beginning. Ferrero Bravella was called as ISSP secretary. And at the beginning, these are the name of the person that you find in the first managing council. And there was only one representative, Paul Kunat, from the Eastern Europe. And so it was a problem. This problem was talked by Miroslav Vlanek, who was another fathers of the sports psychology. He was the second ISSP president, as you know. And in any case, it was during this meeting that Antonelli was appointed as president. Only talking about these 7 persons decided to do this in this way. This is the names of the first managing council person, and you can see toward the end we found, we found the name of Miroslav Vanek. The person was appointed in relation of their language. So Vanek was appointed because representative of Slavian countries. So the US member as English-speaking countries was all European, except Ribeiro de Silva from Brazil. Then there was a French, was obviously Paul Kunat, Vanek, Ferrero Bravella, the Spanish, and Olsen was a Norway expert, and Antonelli. So this was published in the first issue of the International Journal of Sports Psychology. And the other member from English-speaking languages was Johnson, because at the beginning he was inside the managing council, but for this political problem he was put in some way member at large, the only one at the time, and he was the organizer of the Second World Congress in Washington. Here you find the statute, so it's only in these pages. You can imagine our status now, the FEPSAC, ISSP, or the other societies, is crazy, no? To have these very few words, very simple, but at the time the things ran in this way. So also this aspect is very interesting, no? To show our society became, during the year, very complex compared to the past. It was absolutely easy. So the Antonelli years was 80 years, because until 73 he was also re-elected in 68 during the Second World Congress in Washington. Washington was a little bit criticized Congress because, for example, there is also only English-speaking languages, not French, for example. There was very few people from Eastern country because the Soviet Union, the invasion in Czechoslovakia, and so on. There are many problems, but also many sort of good relation in the same time. Because, for example, we have the first book written by Vanek together with Creti. So, no, Vanek, big, from Eastern country, and Creti from USA. Psychology and the Superior Athlete. I never read this book, but I suppose I read some pages in the International Journal. I suppose it could be very interesting today to understand the differences between these two. So, there was a Cold War, but in the same time they were together. No? In the same time was founded, it's been called the FEPSAC. Now I'm the treasurer of the FEPSAC. It's crazy for me to think that the foundation of the socialist FEPSAC is an antagonist of capitalist ISSP. No? The time was different. Okay, it's better for us now. Also, it's also curious to know that Emma Geron was the first president of FEPSAC. She was from Bulgaria, but at the time she got to Israel. So she was the president of a socialist FEPSAC, but at the same time she was not socialist because she went to Israel. So the history is not always as happened to us. It is interesting to understand this for all of us. And the other things I told you that there's a bigger critics that Sidonio Serpa know well because it's published in the proceeding of ISSP in '93 in Lisbon. And Vanek told that the leadership I recall was similar to the atmosphere of private poker club. So you can understand also what I say when I tell that Antonelli was a solitary person. He was very tough. When he decided to do something, he do. Also in a very diplomatic way, talking always with people, very kind and so on. But probably is the way also to manage this not difficult, not very clear situation. So I find that this interesting, this fact. So this is the second managing council. No, sorry. 68-73. It's also interesting to show that there are 5 years, not 4. Only in after 65, 68, 73. Only after we had a quadriennial repetition. And as you see here, there are more people, more or less the same, but members at large. We have another Spain. I put Emma Geron, as I told you, Paul Kunat, and another guy from Canada. But in any case, José Ferreira Bravella was, in my opinion, a great teammate of Antonelli. He sustained him, supported him in all the management of the different situations. Obviously, I told at the beginning that Antonelli has 2 dreams. The first, accomplished in 65, the second in the 1970. It was found in the journal, as it called, the International Journal of Sports Psychology. Because his idea, obviously also of the others, was to have a place, no? Have tools where the sports psychologists can share their scientific contribute, and also the news, because in the first 10 years, there was only this journal in sports psychology, totally devoted to sports psychology. And we have every issue, at least 5 pages about news from all over the world, from Japan to Guatemala to many others things. And then I show you something about this. And this you find is in the proceeding. You can see in this last year until 65, there are around only 300 articles. In the 5 years later, and mainly from 70 to 77, was published more than 500 books. In 7 years, the first 7 years of the 70s, 500 books in sports psychology. So also is a big effort that all our community did in very few years. So you can imagine the role played by an international journal of sports psychology. But the question was who pay for this, because we are in time of spending review, so Now we know very well which is the cost of a journal, worldwide journal, not a regional journal, but to send the journal everywhere from Japan to South America and so on. At the beginning, as you have read, I suppose, Dr. Olsen, coming from Norway, was appointed by the managing council with the publisher from Norway. They signed a contract, as Antonelli wrote, in the first issue. This is the first page of the first issue. But something happened, I don't know what happened, and in any case disappeared, this publisher, probably because there is no money. He was aware of the cost to mail all this copy all over the world. And Antonelli was his dream, so he take on his shoulder this challenge again, and it was explicitly that at the beginning when ISSP was free, so no people pay a fee to be member of ISSP, we reach 1,500 persons that want to be part of the ISSP. When I asked $10 per year, that I suppose is probably $100 now. No? Nobody want to pay for this. This money was not for, obviously, for ISSP. Was to pay the first issues of the International Journal of Sports Psychology. And now it is arrived Luigi Pozzi, just in the moment that I talk about him. I told that at the time Antonelli was, as I told you, 43 years old, Mr. Pozzi 30 years old. He was a Roman publisher, and he decided together to start this challenge, to publish for the first time a journal totally devoted to this. And as you can see, when I told you that Antonelli was a very tough person, you can read here, if necessary, I will go ahead at my own expense. This is not an exhibition of crazy heroism. I'm sure that when they receive this first issue, many members will pay the subscription fee for the second issue of 70. So this is a true challenge, and I'm honored to meet in the past this person. I told you, this is also another curious thing, $10, okay? $18 for 2 years. So now it's nothing, no? But I suppose, no? Mr. Pozzi, it was a tough question. And the story continues also today. And Antonelli was the editor of the International Journal of Sports Psychology until '88. In '88, I went to Varna, and here there is Glenn Roberts that remember when I met John Salmela and all the others of the group. And John was the only one that up his hand, okay, tell with Alberto, I would like to try to improve the International Journal of Sports Psychology, and the ISSP managing councils appointed me and him to try to continue in this challenge. And so the history continues in this way. And here, just to remember, also the words of Salmela. This was a truly challenge achieved only thanks to Antonelli's solitary determination without financial coverage. So this is absolutely important. It's also an optimistic message for us today. No? We have to believe in something, and probably then we arrive to reach our goals. This was the first editorial committee. What I would like to show you is the relevance of the national correspondence, because at the time, obviously, there is no internet, so it was important to have people in every country.